Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Dan Cave, and welcome back to another bench update. So, we have steamed right into October, and this video is supposed to be a review of September. So, sadly, at the start of October, I went on holiday for a week, then got back from holiday, and then had to help my stepdaughter move house. So this has really been the kind of first opportunity I've got to try and do a kind of a bench review. So here we are. This is still going to be a review of September, which September kind of ended nearly 2 weeks ago. Not quite a full 2 weeks ago. But there we go. So we're back again, another bench review, and we'll cover the usual stuff. So it'll be what's been built, what's been bought, what's in progress, and who knows, there may be a random bit of video footage in there. Who knows? Maybe not. You have to watch to find out. So, there we go. Another month has been done. September was, I was kind of hoping it was going to be a busier kind of month for me in terms of bench time. Didn't kind of work out that way once again. You know, stuff like holidays, work, all that kind of stuff got in the way. So output's not been brilliant. So, you know, the channel itself, so, you know, we've had part 2 of this Suzuki, the 12 scale RGV build. So part 2 is out. Decals are now done, so part 3 is going to follow on hopefully in the next week or so. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the in progress bit. We've had a couple of completions in September, so we'll go through them. One of them is probably, I think it's fair to say, probably the best model I've done this year. Close to best model I've done, I think. But we'll get to that when we cover the what's been built. So. Yeah, so I guess let's head on over to the overhead camera, this one, and start having a look at a few bits and pieces. Of course, before I do that, thanks for watching. Don't forget to pop a like, and don't forget to subscribe, and if you want to leave a comment. So I'll come back at the end of the video. Actually, I'll be here all the way through because it's my voice anyway on the overhead, but you know, we'll come back to me in front of the camera at the end for a little bit of a wrap up and a few final thoughts. So let's go over to the bench and see what's been done. So then, first up is the what's been built category. So as was kind of mentioned in the intro, we've only got 2 completions from September. So number 1 is this, which is the Revell 24th scale Audi R8. Having built a few Revell kits this year, I wouldn't say I had high hopes for it, but I had a reasonable expectation that it would be a nice kit, and in some ways it is. But in some ways it proved to be quite frustrating. But I think, you know, overall I'm quite happy with the finish, really happy with the colour. So I mean, I suppose the basics are, was primed in UMP grey for the bodywork. Then it was airbrushed with Gravity Spain Kenmora grey, I think it is, which is an Audi colour. Pro Range 2K, and then micro mesh and UMP polishing system to give it its nice shiny finish, which you can see is very, very shiny and very reflective. So that was kind of all the bodywork, and you know, we'll cover that a little bit more when I get to the video editing for this and actually release the parts of it. But yeah, so we had some issues, some mistakes on my part. I forgot to do some of the decaling before I did the paint and clear coat. The fit of the body onto the chassis was pretty poor. The fit of this kind of rear engine lid was just awful, and in fact that entire kind of area has been shimmed up, which I kind of spoke about in an earlier bench update. Aside from that, I mean, you know, it's generally quite a good kit. But, you know, just overall, the little kind of issues I had and the little mistakes I made just kind of probably took the shine off it. And then I kind of copped out a little bit and left the wheels in the original chrome, where I think they would have been nicer if they were stripped and painted in a slightly different colour. Maybe even done in possibly a darker kind of grey metallic or gunmetal. But, you know, overall, it's another one in the finished pile, and I wouldn't say it's bad. Just had things that I wasn't entirely happy with. So that was number 1 completed and done. So number 2 for the completion was this one, and this is the Tamiya Ford Mustang GT4. Done in the Academy Motorsports livery, which came from SK Decals. So this, I have to say, is where I've kind of really been happy with a completion for not just this year, but probably as long as I can remember. And it's probably, this kit is the reason why I've probably not done much else and not made progress on some of the video builds. So I'll kind of hold my hands up on that one. I kind of got into this and kind of really enjoyed it so much that I just kind of kept going. So yeah, so I mean, it's probably worth going through some of the photos that I've got of this, because the paintwork was different, shall we say, a little bit challenging on this. So I mean, as you can see in the kind of the finished kit, there is a nice fade from the black to the grey, but actually getting there was actually quite challenging, and gave me some headaches in terms of thinking about how I was going to do it. Plus the SK Decals didn't really give a good guide as to what grey to use, but ultimately, so I went with kind of priming in UMP grey primer, which always a good primer. So then it was base coated in Tamiya XF82, I'm sure it was. It's ocean grey, I think. But anyway, a grey that, you know, to my eye matched what I could see was the kind of grey colour for Academy Motorsports in the reference photos I found online. And then the front half of it was done, well, was intended to be done in black, with then a fade from the black into the grey. So in the first photo you can basically see where I've done it in its primed grey colour. Then we've got the ocean grey. Then I've masked up basically around the back end of the car where I didn't want any of the black kind of bleeding into it, basically to cover up everything that's solid grey. And then I kind of sprayed the black and basically did the fade along kind of both sides, which was done by hand. And actually it came out really, really well, and it's actually pretty symmetrical. You know, it's quite hard to do that by eye, but I used the masking tape that I kind of put around as kind of a general guide for where I wanted to finish the fade. So that of course meant there was an element of overspray, we'll say, down along the door. So then I went back over that with some ocean grey to kind of fade that back in again. So all in all, that was pretty kind of pleasing. Then there was a few areas around the bottom of the sills and around the back of the kind of rear bumper that were solid black, so it was masked up again, and then those were sprayed black again. So it was XF1 that was used as the black in this instance. So once again, I will say this kit is once again proof that you do not need to do a gloss coat before decals, and as you see in the next picture, Started applying all the SK decals, starting with this camo scheme, which kind of wraps around the bonnet, front wing, into the bumper, etc. Those went straight down on that flat paint, absolutely no problem. A little bit of warm water plus some UMP decal solutions, absolutely spot on. Did the trick. I think I used normal and strong in a few places, certainly around the edges of any of the kind of bonnet or anywhere where it needed to kind of curve round and conform. So a little bit of strong, and that did the trick. So once all those decals were done, they were left dry for a bit, and then we could start on the kind of main kind of sponsor decals along the side, race numbers, etc. Once that was all done, it was given, would you say, probably a good 2 or 3 days, just because I was busy with other things, for them to completely dry. And then Pro Range 2K was used once again, left to cure for a few days, and micro mesh and UMP polishing solutions did the trick and cleaned it all up nicely. So in parallel to that, you know, kind of the usual kind of running gear, etc. were done. Also along the way there was quite a bit of kind of carbon fibre work to do as well. So the rear wing, that was done in carbon fibre, the front splitter, the extra little wings on the front, and then the rear diffuser are all done in, I guess, Tamiya's carbon fibre. There's quite a lot on the interior is done in that as well. Not a highly visible area. It is obvious kind of when you look in that they're carbon fibre, but it, you know, you could have gotten away with it. You could have left them non-carbon fibred, but I thought, you know, I wanted to do it, and I wanted to do it as good as I could. So yeah, so really pleased with that. And then everything put together, finally assembled, and all was happy and good. So the only area of trouble I had was, if you watched the ISM Friday Night Live show, you'll know I did mention that the wing mirrors, when they were first 2K'd, I did accidentally stick them together. There should be a photo up in the corner of that. So those had to be stripped, reprimed, painted, re-2K'd. But luckily enough there was no decals on them, so that could be done kind of in parallel with a lot of other work on the car. So yeah, very happy, very pleased with that. And all this handling has completely covered it in fingerprints once again. But there we go. Maybe I like to play with them. Brum brum. So there we go. That's it for the what's been completed. So next up is the, I guess usual at this stage, what's actually been bought. So for September there's not a huge amount has been bought. Just going quickly over what I've got. So I picked up another couple of eBay bargains. So I picked up the Revell Porsche 934 24 scale, this time in the Martini colours. So I have built that in the Jägermeister scheme at the start of this year. Really liked the kit, love the Martini scheme, so I wanted to pick up another one of those. So that was done. I also picked up the Road Car 918 as well. So that was spot on. Haven't really looked at much in either of those kits. Just a quick cursory glance to make sure everything is in there. The next thing I picked up, which is again a little bit of a departure, was a Bandai kit. So it's a Bandai Tie Interceptor. It's this one on screen. So that was actually picked up in a local charity shop, which was picked up at a bargain price. Considerably less than what they do sell for at the moment on eBay, so that was quite a nice find. I did contemplate whether I'd move it on again via eBay because the prices are good, but you know, I am a little bit of a sci-fi nerd as well, so at some point I will probably build that, so that'll go into the stash and join a couple of other sci-fi items that I do have. And then the next purchase, which was a little bit of a snipe on eBay, was the Tamiya 20th scale Jordan 191. So always been a fan of the Jordan Formula 1 team since they started. I remember this car running, and its debut in Formula 1 back in '91. So to finally pick one up, I was quite pleased with that. I've not built a Formula 1 car. Oh, must be 30 years. To build a Formula 1 car. Yeah, must be 30 years. I built the last one I built was a Hasegawa 24th scale one actually. But yeah, built one or two when I was much younger. Always been a fan of Formula 1 anyway, so I thought, well, I'll add that to the collection. And then I did pick up another couple of Formula 1 kits which I've bought from Paul at ISM who was selling them. But I'll cover those later in the year because I've not actually received them yet, so we're gonna exchange them at Telford, which is coming up soon. So that is what's been bought. Not a huge amount this month. Previous months have been much more lucrative, I guess, in terms of purchases. Oh, I did forget one. I did pick up the Airfix, the Havlin Mosquito, the 72nd scale Mosquito. I nearly forgot about that one. So again, that's another nice little addition to the stash. It's an aircraft, but it's brand new Airfix kit. Looks really good. There is an inbox review of that on the channel, so if you want to go and have a look at that, feel free. It looks really good in the box, and I am looking forward to building that. I can't remember many other recent 72nd scale Mosquitos. I think Hasegawa had some, but again, they're probably 20 years old at this stage. So it's nice to get a brand new moulding of one. If it's as good as the Bristol Blenheim I built, I'll be very pleased to build that at some point in the future. So there we go. That's everything that's been bought. It's time to have a quick look at what's in progress. So first up on the in progress bit is this, which is the Tamiya 12th scale RGV Gamma XR89. So this is a video build series, so I'm not going to spend too long on this. So kind of the first two parts are out. The next part's going to focus on the decals. So these parts have been painted and decaled, not yet clear coated. This particular part, there was some issues with one of the decals, entirely my own fault. So a replacement set had to be ordered, but we'll cover that in the video build series, which will be out quite soon. So that's that one. Watch out for that video build coming up soon. Parts 1 and 2 already available. So next up in progress is the Airfix 72nd scale Grumman F4F4 Wildcat. So that's at the primer stage. So that's going to be done with wings folded. So as you can see, first coat of primer has gone down on the fuselage and wings. I think it needs some more primer, but yeah, that's generally come along nicely. Once that primer is done and cured, it'll be into paint, and it should progress to completion fairly quickly because it's a relatively simple kit. All the complicated bits are already in it, cockpit, undercarriage. It's going to be done wings folded, a little bit of space saving. And I don't do wings folded very often, so that's progressing nicely. Final in progress at the moment is this, which is the Revell. Is that 24th or 25th scale? I want to say 25th, but I could be wrong. No, it's 24th scale. Of course, this 24 scale Dodge Challenger. So this is currently at the primer stage, so it's had a good coat of primer down. Since then I've had to do some further sanding just to clean up some blemishes and a couple of seams I spotted. That'll then get a further primer coat to blend those back in, and then once that's cured it's going to be painted in Gravity Spain Chrysler Mango Tango, which is kind of a metallic orange colour. So we're kind of going with the kind of box orange, but wanted a slightly more, I suppose, modern twist on it. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes out. It's pretty much going to be done stock. Going to do the satin black bonnet, satin black spoiler. Haven't decided on the wheels yet, but they will be stripped. Maybe in silver, maybe in a different colour, don't know yet. But yeah, so that's progressing nicely. So that is it for this month. So that's what's built, what's bought, what's in progress. So let's go back over to me for some final thoughts. Unless there's a random video coming up. So yeah, that was my random video of me on a Segway in the Lake District. So yeah, back to me. Ah. Oh, I'm recording again. Okay. So yeah, so we've covered all the bits we're going to look at. That Mustang, fantastic kit from Tamiya. And for me, the result, yeah, I'm really pleased with that. I think it's one of my best things I've ever done, I think. Probably one of my favourites of the year so far. So yeah, so really pleased with that. The Audi R8, not so much. A few things went wrong, kind of, you know. But you'll see some of that once I edit the videos and put that out, because that is going to be a video build in the next few weeks. So that's it. That's kind of my final thoughts on where we are for this month. So once again, you know, thank you for joining. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you've given a thumbs up. Hopefully you've dropped a subscribe. And if you want to, you know, leave a comment if you can. It's all appreciated. So that's it for now. And we'll see you all very soon. Thank you and bye-bye.